basically here we are looking at what are the skills that are needed for what role in the information system development. What skills are needed for what role? And the first role that we are going to discuss here is the system analyst role. The system analyst role. So we talked about the system analyst previously, and we said is a person who is actually supposed to be aware of the business and aware of is in charge of collecting the system requirements and even creating the design of the system before forwarding that design to the people that are actually concerned with the real development, that is the programmers. So before the design is taken to the programmers, he's actually the person in charge of coming up with the design. So he is actually supposed to be aware of the system, and even is going to be in charge in guiding the project. Yeah, will be the one that is actually giving the guidance, the directions. So he needs to have skills. So he's a person who needs to have both technical skills. At the same time, he also needs interpersonal skills to make sure that the tasks are actually carried out well in each phase. So let's look at the main roles of the system analyst. So there are a number of roles that the system analyst would play, and the first role is in terms of making sure that he's defining the requirements of the user of the system. So we have defining and understanding the requirements of the user. So he's going to use various techniques, fact-finding techniques, requirements gathering techniques that we actually discussed in the previous classes. We talked about observation, we talked about review of preliminary review of written documents or existing documents. We talked about interviews, we talked about questionnaires, etc. So he's going to use all those techniques, all those methods to gather requirements, and then make sure he defines the requirements and he understands what are the requirements of the system. The second role of this person is that he's going to make sure that he gets the consensus of the user of the system, then give priority to some requirements. So he's in charge of actually prioritizing the requirements by making sure he obtains a consensus from the user. He has also the role to gather the facts, to gather the information, to acquire the opinion of the user. He also has the role to maintain and evaluate the system, to make sure that we have a more user-friendly system. He has also the role to suggest if we have any alternative solutions on the problem. Then he is the one who is going to suggest the solutions. Then he's going to analyze all the solutions and end up picking the best solution in terms of costs and benefits. Again, he's the one that is actually going to come up with specifications that can easily be understood by both the users of the system and the programmer also, in a way or in a format that is precise and also detailed. So he's also in charge of implementing the logical design of the system. He's also in charge of planning the periodicity for evaluation. After we have been after we are done with we have actually been working on the project for some time, then evaluation needs to be done so that we can see if there are any changes that are needed to be done on the system. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 roles of the system analyst. Very important that we understand what the system analyst does. So those are the roles of the system analyst that the system analyst undertakes. I have said previously that the system analyst needs both technical skills and interpersonal skills to undertake those roles. So we need to look at the attributes of a system analyst. Yeah, what attributes should a system analyst possess? So I have a figure here that shows the groups of the attributes the system analyst needs. And the first one here is the interpersonal skills. I'm going to talk about interpersonal skills. Then we have the technical skills. Then we have analytical skills. Then we have management skills. Yeah. So all these are skills of the system analyst. So we have grouped these skills into 4 categories. We have the interpersonal skills, then we have the technical skills. Of course, technical skills has to deal with the programming languages and all that. Then we have the analytical skills. So it should be someone who is able to actually do analysis, because we're going to do requirements analysis. Again, we have the management skills, because it's the one who is going to be in charge of managing the project, overseeing the project, and giving directions about the project. So he needs to have management skills. So let's discuss each of these now. So when we talk about interpersonal skills, we are talking about skills like the interface with users and a programmer. So it's supposed to actually have is supposed to be able to actually communicate, or should be able to bring people together, because he's going to work with users. He's also going to work with the programmers. Of course, from the user, he's going to draw the system specific functions, and then he's going to be communicating with the programmer to actually transmit that design to the programmer, so that to enable the programmer implement the design. Then you should be able to facilitate groups and also lead smaller teams. So it needs to have the group facilitation skills. uh, should be a leader. In other words, somebody who is able to work with other people in both large and small teams. Then should be someone who is able to manage expectations. We have the system stakeholders, and they have expectations of the system. They have what they expect that will be delivered at the end of the system. So as a system analyst, you should be able to manage those expectations, both of the system user and the system stakeholders. Then you should be someone with good understanding. You can simply understand things in simplest way. Then somebody who has good communication, somebody who has good teaching abilities, because you're going to transmit knowledge to other people at the same time. He also needs to be a person who is a motivator, and has good confidence when it comes to solving queries or questions or problems. The analytical skills include he should be able to study the system, and should have organizational knowledge, how the organization runs, what are the structures of the organizations and all that. Again, he needs to be someone who has the skill of identifying a problem, analyzing the problem, and solving the problem. So identify a problem, you analyze that problem, and you solve the problem. It should be someone with a sound common sense, someone with the ability to assess trade-off, someone with curiosity, somebody who has the hunger to keep learning and learning about the new organization. So in terms of management skills, uh, should be someone who understands user jargon and practices, someone who is very good when it comes to resource and project management, someone who is actually uh, good in change and risk management, should be someone that understands uh, the functional management, or the management functions thoroughly. So when you look at the technical skills, then as a system analyst, you should have knowledge of computers and software. You should actually, at a breast level of the modern development, and you should also know of tools that are actually used in system designing. So you should have a knowledge of what tools are used in system designing, as well as how they are actually used in the designing process. Also, the system analyst needs to have knowledge about new technologies. So that's it about the system analyst. We need to go to the system designer. So we say the system designer is the person that actually is going to create the design documentation that is going to be used for development and the integration of the computer systems to make sure that the business needs are met. So we have the personal requirements of a designer. One should be a person who is able to understand and solve complex problems. It should be a person who has the logical, both logical and analytical, and has some systematic approach to solving problems. So can solve logical problems, can solve analytical projects in a systematic approach. Should be someone who has good communication skills and also has the ability to actually work well with other people, ensuring that we have good functionality in terms of the proposed design. So again, should be somebody who is flexible, somebody who can work alone and at the same time can work with a team. So should be able to work independently or maybe part of a team. Should be able to offer directions also to other people, other workers. Somebody with strong leadership skills, who is able to actually delegate tasks and also direct the work of others. Now, it will be someone who has keen attention to details and also someone that is highly organized, because when planning out a complex system design, we have many components that are actually involved. Then the person needs to be more organized in that case. Again, should be someone who is willing to maintain personal skills and the knowledge of IT. And when it comes to deadlines, then should be somebody who is actually able to meet even the strictest deadlines. So the roles and responsibility of the system designer, the key role is to make sure that he has come up with a comprehensive plan and instructions that can be implemented by the programmers. So we have some key input document that the system designer is going to use, and that document is the requirements specification. Remember, the requirements specification will be developed by the system analyst or the business analyst. So from the system analyst or the business analyst, that requirements moves to the system designer, who is now going to convert those instructions or those requirements specifications into a proposed design of a system. So that is the key input. Now the key output from the system designer level is the design specification. So he receives requirements specifications, converts the requirement specifications into a proposed design, and gives out a design specification document. Now this document is going to contain more detailed instructions and even what we call mock-up screen prints, that now the programmer can look at them and know exactly what they have to code for, and how the end result are going to look like. So again, he is responsible for writing the test plans and even coordinate a team of users and some system testers to ensure that we have the system tested thoroughly. So the testing plan comes from the system designer, the coordination of a team of users who are going to test the system, or a team of testers, is also from the project, the system designer. So it is his work to make sure that it is the project is well tested and the people who are supposed to test the project are available. However much it looks like a technical skill, personal skills or people skills are well needed. So it's supposed to be someone who uh, may have worked maybe for a number of years to build some other to build technical expertise. Also, he has a record. He has maintained a record of successful working, of course, with customers and clients. Yeah. Now, if you consider their duties, you'll get the reasons as to why it should be someone with high skills. And he has the technical duties. And the first technical duties, we have the designing and the planning of the entire system. He's the one who designs and plans the entire system. That's why we are talking about having somebody who is more organized. Okay. So he comes out with something that looks like more of an architect design. Just that's the way an architect designs a building, and then he's going to hands out that build drawing to builders who are going to do the actual construction. That is what um, the system designer does. So he's going to also, under technical, he should be able to select what are the right technologies for use, what are the right softwares, what are the right hardwares that are going to be used. Now, because of those two reasons, then it should be somebody who has actually valuable experience in terms of hardware and software tools, to be able to compare and bring out the difference of the available tools. Number three, is also responsible to come up with or writing the design specification that will be used by the developers as it guides them throughout the work. Last but not least, is going to produce the test plan for the testers. So that is technical duties. Now for the people duties, he is the one, the designer is the one that is actually going to work in liaison with the system analyst once we have the requirement specification made available. So it's going to work hand in hand with the system analyst. So again, the project, the system designer is going to talk to coders. Is also going to talk to programmers. Is going to talk to technicians, to engineers, even before we have the development stages put in place. Now, the communication that is going to make to these people will actually help them to have an understanding of what is going to be needed even before we have the formal design specification being released. Then he has the duties to also explain to the clients in both technical in both technical and non-technical terms. So the system designer is going to communicate, or is going to talk to is going to talk to the clients, is going to tell them how the system is going to work, how he's going to get the feedback and opinions of the people. Yes, Rukia. He's going to get the opinion and of the users of the system. In other words, he's going to get the feedback. He's going to get the feedback from the people. Okay. So those are actually people duties. So since you're going to get feedback from people, then that means he should be somebody who is able to go incognito with people. Now let's talk about the system's programmer job responsibilities. We are talking about the programmer. what are the responsibilities of the programmer? So of course we said the programmer converts the proposed design into a real system. So he's going to work on various programming applications and even languages. So one, he will be involved in installing and maintain operating system softwares. That is the first role. Installation and maintaining of operating system softwares. In other words, I can call this setting up a programming environment. Yeah, because he's a programmer, it is his duty to make sure that he sets up a programming environment. So that is the first role that he has. So as a programmer, the person must have knowledge about various programming languages and even the systems, so that he is able to have a good management of tasks effectively. So there are so many other roles of the system programmer, and we've talked about the first one, installation of programming softwares on the operating systems. So he needs to install the programming softwares on the operating system. For example, he needs to set the environment, the programming environment, install the tools, the softwares that are needed for the programming work. Number two, the programmer is going to plan. He's going to come up with a plan, to come up with a design, and even to come up with to develop the software programs. So apart from installing the softwares, he's going to develop a plan of how that implementation is going to be done. He's going to come up with his own design of how that implementation is going to be done. Then after he has done the planning and the design, he has come up with the design, then he is going to develop the software program. In other words, he's going to convert that drawing into now a real system. He's going to convert the drawing into a real system. So it's very paramount, it's very important. Number three, the programmer is actually going to deal with the client. The programmer is going to deal with the client. And the reason for the programmer dealing with the client is because he wants to understand their requirements. We want to understand their requirements. I understand that we have the design, yes, but he will need to rely us with the client also to have clear understanding of the requirements, and also he's going to work upon preparing the software programs that are really needed. So he need to really rely us with the programmer, or deal with the client. Again, the other role of a programmer is to give training. He's going to give training on the use of the newly developed software, software programs. You don't just develop a software and stop there. He will need to train people how that software is used. So that is another role. He's going to give training on how that newly developed software is used. Now the other role is he's going to make sure that the system that is being designed is one, user friendly, is number two, easy to understand. So you can easily understand the system, you can easily use the system. That is his role. Again, he has the role of maintenance. He's required to perform the maintenance program, the maintenance activities on the system. The programmer is required to perform maintenance. So the person who does maintenance on a software or on a system is actually the programmer. He's supposed to perform the maintenance on software programs. Okay, the system programmer is also required to ensure that we have a system that runs smoothly even after the installation of new programs. So it should be understood that the system programmer is also going to ensure that there is backup. He ensures backup. He ensures that the system files, the system folders are backed. There is backup done before the installation of any maybe new program, that data might not be lost in any case and cause any issues. So he's in charge of making sure there is backup done on data. The other role of the system programmer is to give what we call technical assistance. Yeah, he's going to give the users technical assistance when it is required. When needed to, he's going to give technical assistance to the user. Again, the programmer has the role to assess the performance of the system. Look at this, how the system is working, assess the working of the system, then improve it where needed. Make sure that he is enhancing the working of the system. So improve it where improvement is needed. So at the end of that, the programmer will be required to prepare reports. So the programmer will be required to prepare reports on the system performance and share that report to the senior officials. He will prepare reports of the system performance and share the report to senior officials. So that's all about the system programmer. I want us to move to the system administrator. We say the system administrator is the person that is actually in charge of making sure that the system is up and running. Is someone that is in charge in doing system configurations, in doing some reliable operations on computer systems, especially when we are talking about computers that are multi-users, for example, the servers. So the system administrator is going to ensure that we have the uptime, we have the performance, we have the resources, and we have the security of the computers that actually meet the needs of the users. And he is going to work for all these within a confined budget. So he needs to make sure that he's not going to go out of the budget. He's not going to exceed the budget. So to have a system administrator that actually meets these needs, then the administrator may need to acquire to get to also install or upgrade the components, both the hardware and software components that are actually needed for automation. He will need to maintain security policies. He will need to do troubleshooting. He will need to also train or maybe supervise some stuff. And he will also offer technical support for projects. It's going to offer technical support for project. So now, since we've known what the programmer needs to do, then what skills are actually, what the system administrator needs to do, then what skills does the project or system administrator need? Um, if you're a system administrator, then your matter actually includes both computer systems and also the way people use these computer systems in that particular organization. The computer system and the way the people use the computer systems in that particular organization. Now, this basically means you need to have knowledge in operating systems. You need to have knowledge in applications. You need to have knowledge in hardware. You need to have knowledge in troubleshooting software. But on top of this, you need to have the knowledge of the purpose in which the people in that organization use the computers. What are they using those computers for? Now, the most important skill for a system administrator is the problem solving skill. The problem solving skill. This is the most important skill. Now, this is because under under various sort of constraints and stress, the system administrator will be required to solve problems. Okay, so most of the times he will be the one on a call when maybe a computer system goes down or there is some malfunctioning of the system. He's given a call. Yeah, so it should be somebody who you have the ability, somebody who has the ability to actually diagnose a system quickly and correctly. What is wrong in the system, know what is wrong in the system, and know how best you can fix that. So on top, you may also need to have teamwork. The system programmer might be required to have teamwork and communication skills. Why teamwork? Because the administrator is going to work with people. Yeah, and if you're going to work with people, then you should know how to communicate to people. You should know how to work with people. So you should also be able to install. You should be able to install softwares. Should be able to configure hardware. But above all, also the administrator should be able to understand how a software behaves. What is the behavior of a software? Okay, so that you are able to actually deploy that software and to offer troubleshooting services to identify problems. So he is also required. He's also required to know several programming languages, languages that are actually used for scripting, languages that are used to do some task automation. Yeah. So he does not have a role of designing or maybe writing a new application, but he has the role of automating the system and also doing some application configuration with some management tools that are going to be found available to the guy. Now, let's go to the duties. The duties of a system administrator. The duties of a system administrator. The duties of a system administrator. So the responsibilities of the administrators, they might include the following. Remember, they are including the following, but they are not limited to that. One, is going to be responsible in analyzing the system logs. Is going to analyze system logs and identify any potential issues in the system. Analyzing the system logs and identify some potential issues in that particular system. Then he's also going to be in charge on applying these updates. He's going to apply operating system updates. He's going to apply patches. He's going to apply some configuration changes to the system. He's going to apply some configuration changes to the system. So again, as an administrator, he's going to have the duty of installing and configuring both software and hardware. So he's going to do software installation and hardware configuration. He's going to have the duty also of adding. He will be adding, he'll be removing, he'll be updating some user account information. For example, it is the system administrator's job to reset your password when you forget the password to your account. It is the administrator's duty to actually reset your password. So he's going to be in charge of adding information, maybe removing, and also updating some user accounts information. Again, the administrator is going to answer technical questions. He's going to answer technical questions and is also going to assist users. Of course, not every time, but when needed to do that. He's going to answer technical questions. He's going to assist users when needed. Then he is also responsible for security. He's the one who makes sure that the data and files and folders in the system are secure. He comes up with the policies, the system policies, and then makes sure that they are secure. Comes up with the system policies, then makes sure that they are implemented to have a secure system. Again, he has the responsibility for documenting the configurations of the system. He has the responsibility for documenting the configuration of the system. That is the responsibility of the administrator. Put into writing the system configurations. He has the duty to put into writing um, the system configuration. So that is very, very important that we need to understand. Okay. He's also troubleshooting. The administrator will troubleshoot the system and report problems. He's going to troubleshoot the system and report any problem that occurs in the system. He's in charge of performance tuning of the system. He's in charge of making sure that the network infrastructure or the network components, both hardware and software, is up and running. He's there to make sure that configuration is done, addition and even deletion of some file systems is done when needed. Okay. Again, he has the responsibility of training users. He has the responsibility of planning and managing the machine room environment. So if the software is required to be at a particular level, the temperature of the room is required to be at a particular level, then the guy is in charge of making sure that those levels are actually met. Okay, so that's it. Now I want us to move to the importance of some key employability skills. The importance of some key employability skills. The importance of some key employability skills. So we need to know what employability skills are. We need to know why they are important to actually make you get hired or maybe succeed in your workplace. We have the skills that are highly being sought out by employers in today's market. They are both actually they are majorly soft skills. They are majorly soft skills. Soft skills will be pertaining to maybe the ability to communicate, the ability to work with a team, or we also have hard skills that are actually maybe focusing on the basic technology. Okay. Then we have, when we talk about employability skills, we are actually looking at the core skills and maybe traits that are needed nearly in every job. They are skills that you need to have in general in nearly every job. Those are what we call employability skills. So they are general skills that are actually going to make you desirable to an organization, are going to make they are the skills that hiring managers are looking at. Sometimes we have these employability skills given the name of foundational skills or job readiness skills. So when we are talking about employability skills, at times we might not mention employability skills, but we just mention foundational skills, or we mention job readiness skills. So when we mention foundational skills or job readiness skills, we are literally referring to the same thing. We are literally referring to the same thing. So they are soft skills that are going to help you to work well with other people. They're going to help you to apply knowledge to solve problem. They're going to help you to actually be compatible or fit in any work environment. So you have both professional skills that are going to enable you to become successful in the workplace. Now, they are skills that we normally consider them as transferable skills because they are applicable in any type of a job. Now, the most common, or we can say the most essential, or the most important employability skills or functional skills are found in three areas. The most important employability skills are found in three areas. And the first area is the area of making sure that you are getting along with and even working well with other people. The area of you getting along with people, the area of making you be able to work well with people. So skills that are actually falling in this area, we have skills like communication skills, and we have other interpersonal skills that are going to contribute in making you to have a conducive environment in terms of collaborating with other people. The second area that needs employability skills, or that employability skills focuses on, is those skills that are going to make you reliable and those skills that are going to make you dependable. Skills that are going to make you reliable and dependable. Now, being reliable simply means you doing what you say, doing what you said you will do. Yeah, so if you say I'm going to deliver this project by date 5, you deliver it by date 5, then it means you are reliable. You are meeting the deadline that is actually agreed. Yeah, and you are turning up when you are needed. Then you are reliable, you are dependable. The third area, that these employability skills are falling into, it is the area of willingness to learn new skills. So there might be skills that you're required to learn for you to work well in that particular organization. They might be skills that are job specific or skills that are general. But the question is, are you actually willing to learn those skills? Are you willing to learn those skills? Okay, so let's focus on working well with other people. Just mentioned that, so let's talk more about working well with other people. So there are skills that are needed for someone to work well with other people. So we have the interpersonal skills. You need to have good interpersonal skills, and the good interpersonal skills will just contribute into the effective participation. They're going to help you to participate effectively with the other members of your team. They're going to help you to satisfy the customers and the clients' expectations. Still, the same skills are going to help you to do negotiations. They're going to help you to make decisions. They're going to help you to solve problems together with other people. So you sit with a group of people, you discuss, and you come up with a solution to a problem. Okay, so they help you build the rapport with colleagues and even clients at work, and that is going to give you an environment that is less stressful. So we have range of areas. We have a range of areas that is actually covered by interpersonal skills, and the first one is we have the communication skills. Communication skills. Now, a communication skill is simply a skill that is actually needed for you to pass to pass a message or even receive that message accurately. The skill that is needed for you to pass a knowledge and a message and receive a message accurately. Yeah, either you are speaking to people or you are writing to people. Yeah, so you make sure you have communication skills. Now, communication skills include one, we have the verbal communication. Now, verbal communication is the communication that the communication through words. Communication through words. When you're communicating through words, it can either be face to face, you're talking to somebody face to face, or maybe you are even talking to somebody via writing. That is still verbal communication, because you are speaking either to somebody face to face or you are speaking in writing. So you need to do that without misunderstandings. So the verbal communication needs to actually have, you need to have a balance between the face to face and also the writing. Now at least you should be good when it comes to talking to people direct face to face. You should also be good when you're talking to people via writing. Those are verbal communication. So I said communication, there are a number of types of communication, and the first one is the verbal communication. And I said in verbal communication, you are either talking to somebody face to face or talking to somebody via writing. Now, the other communication is non-verbal. The other communication is non-verbal and verbal communication. Now, non-verbal communication is what you communicate to people without words. Most of the at times is of these examples is body language. When you're talking to someone, someone can look at you and understand things from your body language. So you have body language, you have the tone of your voice, you have the tone of your voice. Now, unfortunately, we have people who can still read the tone in writing. I have that type of a skill. So you can write some words and I read those words and I actually get some tone from that. Yeah, maybe hata huko umemaanisha hivyo, but the way you put the words, it makes me understand something totally different at the end of the day. So here we are communicating through body language. We are communicating through the tone of your voice. You are communicating through emojis. Now we have emojis in almost everywhere, every social media platform. I don't think we don't have emojis. We have any platform that don't have emojis. So emojis are everywhere. They are now in Facebook. They are now in Instagram. They are now in Twitter. They are emojis. Okay, I'm not in Twitter. Does Twitter have emojis? Joshua, are you in Twitter?
Yes.
Are you in Twitter?
Instagram.
Oh,
Twitter
you're not
not
in
yet.
Twitter, just like me. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not sure about Twitter if it has emojis, but I think Instagram has.
Instagram has.
Instagram has emojis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a non-verbal. That is a non-verbal communication. That is a non-verbal communication. The other skill under communication skills. So under communication skills, we said verbal communication, non-verbal. The third skill under communication skill is the listening skill. You know, listening is also a skill. Sometimes you talk to somebody and anataka tu every time yeye aongee wewe umsikize, alafu ni wewe umempigia. So my own airtime, so I called you for you to actually lecture me. So those are people who do not have listening skills. So you should actually have a skill to listen to something, take it in, interpret it, interpret both verbal and non-verbal messages that others are sending to you, including in terms of writing. So the other area that I'm going to look at, uh, uh, um, the other interpersonal skill that I'm going to look at is known as emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is simply the ability of you recognizing, understanding, and managing your own emotions as well as the emotions of other people. You need to be emotional intelligent. At times, you want to communicate to somebody, and when because you know how emotionally broken they are, there are some messages you're not going to just put them straight to them. You're finding a way to maneuver you around to deliver that message. So you should have the ability to recognize somebody who is weak in terms of emotions, You should have the ability to understand somebody's emotions. You should have the ability to even manage both your emotions and another person's emotion. Now make sure after understanding that, then you're going to use them positively to have a desired outcome. At times unaenda kwa meeting, you're in an organizational meeting, and you have some stakeholders in there, some big people, and somebody annoys you in the meeting, and you are not able to control your anger, you're not able to control your emotions, so you talk so rudely, then leave the meeting and go. Yeah, that means you are lacking emotional intelligence. So an emotionally intelligent person, even when you're talking to that person and you're actually hurting their feelings, they would watch there patiently. They would sit down patiently until you are done speaking. Then they are going to respond to you in control. They are really in control of emotions. We don't take emotions to work. That is one thing. You don't take emotions to work. The moment we are at work, we forget that this is a brother, this is a sister, this is a wife, this is a what, because we are not bringing any attachments and emotions at work. Work needs to remain work. So you should be able to manage your own emotions and as well as the emotions of others, and use them positively to achieve good results. The other one is team working. Team working. Team working is really a skill. We have many people who are not able to work with other people. They can't work in groups, they can't work in teams. Yeah, and when you are a project manager trying to manage people who have grudges, especially, yeah, you might find it hard on your end. Yeah, somebody tells you, I've seen that in classes. Huh? You are trying to split your class into groups. Then somebody tells you, I cannot be in the same group with that guy. I cannot be in the same group with that girl. So all that it simply means they do not have the teamwork skills. So you should have the ability to work with others in groups and even in teams. Now, group works or teamworks can be both formal and informal. Um, and you are required to work with everyone in a close knit in that team, regardless of the language you guys speak or the language that is used in many organizations, regardless of the ability to actually express yourself well. Sometimes we have other people who are talkative, others are talkless. Now, if you're not going to be careful, you're going to let the person who is talkative talk throughout the meeting. Instead of you discussing now, you're going to leave that meeting, only that one person spoke. So you need to have the ability to really work as a team. The other skill is the negotiation, persuasion, and influencing skills. Negotiation, persuasion, and influencing skills. Now, these skills have a relationship when you want to find a solution that is mutually agreed to on a problem or maybe a situation. So you'll be required to actually convince others that your solution is the best. You'll be required to actually persuade other people to take up your solution because your solution is the best. So you need to be able to have good skills in terms of negotiation, in terms of persuasion, and in terms of influencing. Now, when you go to buy items, we have people who are very good. They're very good bargainers. Huh? I have one friend of mine is really a very good bargainer. Yeah, you go there buy something at 2,500. The guy goes there and buys the same thing at 1,500 because he is very good in bargaining. Now, for you, you are the kind of a person ukiambiwa bei ushatoa pesa. Yeah, some of us we can't negotiate. Unajaribu kusema upunguziwe, akishasema hiyo haiwezi, ushaachana and that's it. So we have people who are very good in terms of negotiation, and that is required. If a business needs to go forward, then you need to negotiate so that you can make some profit. Then as long as you're working with people, there are conflicts that can literally come out. Watu watakosana, watu watararuana mangumi. So as a person, you need to be able to know how to resolve conflicts. You should be able to come in between people who have conflicts and actually resolve it. So you can imagine the managing director and the manager are fighting in an organization. At times it's really hectic. So you need to have the skills to actually resolve some disagreements in a positive way. Haufai uingie hapo sasa uanze kupiga yule mtu aupendi. No, you're just going in there in a positive way, and you are able to manage the situation, whether they are your own disagreements or they are disagreements that involve other people. You should be able to put them down and manage that. Problem solving and decision making is very important. You will be in charge of maybe a department or even at your place of work. There are decisions that are temporary. There are one-time decisions that they are supposed to be made. You need to be very good, yeah, in terms of coming up with strategies to solve problems, in terms of making decisions. So there are skills that are really needed if you need to work with other people. You need to solve problems. You need to make the best choices or the best decisions or the best course of action to take. Now that's very important, and it is those are actually skills that will be required in majority of the areas. Now, um, number two, the area number two that needs skills is being reliable and dependable. We had said the first area is working with people, and we were discussing working with people. That was the first, working well with other people. And under working well with other people, we talked about the range of skills, interpersonal skills, where we talked about communication skills. Under communication skills, we talked about three types of skills: verbal communication, non-verbal, and the listening. Then we moved into another skill, which is emotional intelligence. We moved to team working, we moved to negotiation, we moved to conflict resolution and problem solving. So now we are in the second area, you being reliable, you being dependable. What are the types of skills that you need to be reliable and to be dependable? Being reliable and dependable simply is going to mean, like I said before, doing what you say you will do. Doing what you say you will do. It can also mean being able to actually look around and see what needs to be done and then do it. Now, when you look at that definition, it sounds very simple, but it needs a lot of skills. It needs mostly the personal skills other than the interpersonal skills, so that you are able to do that. So being reliable would also mean being trustworthy and being conscious. Okay? For example, umeajiriwa kazi, unafaa kutoka kazi saa moja usiku. The boss is not at work. Wewe unatoka saa 11 unaenda, unatoka time unataka unaenda. You're not trustworthy. You're just living without permission. It's living anyhowly. The boss knows wewe uko kazini, kumbe wewe ulishafunga kazi, umeenda hata njia zako. Yeah, that means you're not reliable, you're not dependable. Yeah. Okay. So when we look at you need to be conscious also, and when you look at consciousness, we have the parts of one, self-regulation and self-management. You should be able to regulate yourself. You should be able to manage yourself. Yeah, you should be able to actually manage yourself. In other words, I'm talking about having self-discipline to do the things that you may not want to do. Okay, kwa mfano, on a Friday you want to travel. Let's assume you're just traveling, but you're supposed to leave work mapema. You do not want to overstay at work, but again something is compelling you to overstay at work. A good person who is actually able to manage themselves is going to stay over and then travel later. So that is what it means by self-management. Again, And the final element that we're going to look at in terms of being reliable is to make sure that you are using your initiative to identify where work is needed to be done, and then you go on and do it. You don't need to be a person who is always waiting for an instruction. Umenotice ofisi kuna issue. Just a simple example, the Wi-Fi is not really working. The Wi-Fi is not really working, and you know how to reset Wi-Fi because you did IT. So instead of resetting the Wi-Fi, you're waiting for the boss to call a Wi-Fi expert to come and reset. Now that means you are actually not able, you're not reliable, in other words. So mimi nimeajiriwa hapa sasa kufagia. So kwa sababu nimeajiriwa kufagia, nikiona kitu yenye haifanyi vizuri na naweza ifix, siwezi fix. It means you're not able to really to manage yourself. You're not reliable. The third one is the willingness to learn. We said 3 areas require the skills. The first one is getting along well with people, and the second was the one that we have actually discussed here, and that was being reliable and dependable. And the third area, which is the last area, is you having the willingness to learn. So having the willingness to learn simply means you being open to some new ideas. We have people that are going to suggest new ideas to you. We have people that are going to suggest new experiences to you. So the question is, are you open to that? Ama wewe kila kitu mpya inakuja unapinga? Of course, we understand it is in the human nature to resist change. Change is not easy when you're working with human beings. If you bring a change in your working environment, people will start resisting it fast before they get used and adapt it. But are you that kind of a person who resists everything, every suggestion that is made? Hata mtu hajamaliza kusuggest, no, we can't do that. Then it means you're not willing to learn. You're not willing to accept new ideas. You're not open to new experiences. Okay? So at times we refer to willingness to learn as personal development. I normally say if you are employed, you have been in that institution or that organization for 1 year. At the end of that 1 year, evaluate yourself. Are you better than the way you came in, or you are still the way you came in? If you are better than the way you came in, it means you worked on yourself. You've been making sure you are improving yourself over and over again. And that is what is really needed. You need to be willingness to learn, embrace some personal change. Embrace change. If there are changes that come out, make sure you embrace them, and you actually make yourself flexible enough to fall into that. Okay, so we have types of employability skills, and the first type is communication. Okay, communication, I'm just going to rush through this because we have discussed all these up there. Communication is first of them. And when it comes to communication, then you should be able to do both written communication, to do oral communication, to have the interpersonal skills that are needed, to be an active listener, just to be attentive. The second type is teamwork. Okay, in teamwork you need to be able to do collaboration. You should be able to manage the expectations. You should be able to manage conflict when they arise at workplace. You should be reliable. You should be professional. There are people at times, even the way they address people at work, you even wonder where did this person go to school? Anakuaddress as if mko nyumbani, anakuaddress as if we ni mdogo wake and you are at work. So you look at that person and wonder, which school did you go to? Because they do not have professionalism in them. Some of them, the way they are dressing, yeah, it is an official work, and somebody comes there, blings, I don't know, some funny stuffs, earrings, what, dreadlocks, and you even wonder what kind of professionalism is this? Yeah, so it's good you have professional skills. So you have critical thinking, I've talked about it. You should have the ability to actually think and analyze some situations and draw conclusions. So there is no type of job that will not require you to be a critical thinker. You will always be required to be a critical thinker. Even in your own business, you are required to be a critical thinker. You should not be just somebody who is rational. Rational people, they rush in making decisions. Yeah, they rush in making decisions, very irrational. Mtu anakimbia tu ana decide kitu, hajafanya analysis, hajafanya. Yeah, you should be somebody who is a critical thinker. And in critical thinking, you need to be able to have the analytical skills. Analyze the problem, then solve the problem. Be creative, induce some reasoning, put in some philosophical and reasoning aspects. Get some deductive reasoning before you actually arrive to your conclusion or to your decision. The other thing is ethics. Now, when we talk about ethics, we are talking about a very broad category when it comes to employees' principles. Now, all the companies would need employees that actually understand and even follow the company rules. They are honest, they are trustworthy, and they act professionally and responsibly. So you need to be compliant, somebody who complies with the rules and regulations of the company. However strict the rules might look, however unfair the rules might look, however mistreating the rules might look, you should confine yourself to the level of becoming compliant to those rules. You should be someone with integrity, a person of integrity. Yeah, you should a person who have empathy. You should be empathetic on some other people. Not just dealing with people with inhuman nature. That is not good. You also need computer skills. I talked about computer skills, so we have the employability soft skills. Now, then computer skills are hard skills. Computer skills are required in all the jobs now. Yeah, they are required in all the jobs. Like people are adapting now the usage of computers to do their operations in companies and organizations. Now, even here in college, we have been having a big number of people now coming back to learn computer at their old age. Why? Because they have been threatened by the introduction of a new technology. So if they are not going to train, they are going to lose their job. So they would come here, somebody comes and tells you, I remember there's another guy who came and was supposed to do a course in 2 months, but the boss had told him, you need to learn how to use this software, and I'm giving you 2 weeks. So when the guy came, I had to forget about all the other units and I focused on, actually I told the guy, go and bring the architecture of your software, go and bring it, the format at which you put your things, so that I just train you how to use that. Then tutaendelea baadaye after you have reserved your job. So after training the guy on how to do that job, in 1 week, the guy disappeared. He has never come back because all he wanted was to reserve the job. And when the job was reserved, that was it. So you need to have the computer skills. Um, you need to have technological skills. There are some jobs that require some extensive programming knowledge, but some jobs require some basic computer experience. So we employers, they are really looking for candidates who have who can work with some common programs like the Microsoft Office, especially when we talk about Word and Excel. So you need to have the willingness to learn in case you do not know. Yeah, just new or even changing technologies. For example, you have the Microsoft Office suites, ICT, email management, digital calendar management, mobile devices, word processing, search engine research, social media, etc, 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 etc. Yeah, for today, I want us to, I think we can wrap up with this remaining part, making your skills stand out. How are you going to make your skills stand out? Yes, you have the skills. Then how are you going to make your skills stand out? The first one is you need to add your skills to your resume. Add your skills to the CV. The CV should display your skills. Yeah, you put in there the right keywords so that you let the employers see your the employability skills that they are seeking. Yeah, it is going to increase the likelihood of the application being noticed when you are actually applying electronically, because you have those skills in your CV. Now highlight the skills on your cover letter. When you are writing a letter of application, put your skills there. Say I have skills maybe in Microsoft Word, Excel, or you just say the Microsoft suite. If you are a web developer, say in web development, and all that. So highlight them on the cover letter. So you need to have the same care. You need to be careful to include keywords in the cover letter. Then when you go to the job interview, you need to use skill words. As you are responding to questions, you need to use technical words, skill words, so that actually show that you know what you are doing. Yeah, and you are actually not based on basing anything on rumors, but you really are aware of what you're doing.